That ring under your toilet rim isn't dirt. It's a living colony of bacteria, and your bleach spray hasn't touched it in years. I've scrubbed thousands of toilets in 30 years on the job, and I can tell you right now, the stuff you're buying at the store is designed to make your bathroom smell clean. It was never designed to actually clean it. This $2 bottle does more in 10 minutes than a full bottle of name-brand toilet cleaner does in a week. I'm going to show you exactly how to use it, why it works, and why nobody in the cleaning supply industry wants you to know about it. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact method I use on commercial toilets, the same ones that get used 200 times a day and still have to look spotless. No scrubbing until your arm gives out, no harsh fumes burning your eyes, just one common household chemical applied the right way at the right concentration for the right amount of time. Stick around because the how long you leave it sitting part is where almost everyone gets this wrong. Part 1. The problem. Let's talk about why your toilet still looks dirty even after you clean it. Most people clean a toilet the same way. Squirt some blue gel under the rim, swirl it around with a brush, flush, done. Takes about 90 seconds. And for 90 seconds of effort, you get about 90 seconds of results. Within a day or two, that faint ring is back. Within a week, it's darker. Within a month, you're looking at a stain that a brush alone will never lift again. Here's what's actually happening. A toilet bowl has 3 separate problems stacking on top of each other, and almost every cleaner on the shelf is only built to fight one of them. Problem 1 is mineral scale. If you live anywhere with hard water, and most of the country does, every flush leaves behind trace amounts of calcium and magnesium. On their own, those minerals are invisible. But water sits in that bowl between flushes, minerals settle at the waterline, and over weeks and months they bond to the porcelain. That's the ring you see right at the water's edge. It's not dirt sitting on top of the porcelain, it's mineral deposit fused into the microscopic pores of the surface. A sponge just glides right over it. Problem 2 is biofilm. This is the one nobody talks about. Biofilm is a thin, slimy layer that bacteria build to protect themselves. Think of it like a raincoat made of sugar and protein that bacteria secrete once they've settled somewhere wet and dark. The underside of your toilet rim is basically the perfect biofilm incubator. Constant moisture, low light, organic material from urine and skin cells, and almost zero air circulation because it's hidden under that lip. Once biofilm establishes itself, it protects the bacteria underneath from most surface cleaners. You're not fighting exposed bacteria, you're fighting bacteria wearing armor. Problem 3 is oxidized rust and organic staining. If your water has any iron content, or if your tank hardware has started to corrode, you get orange-brown streaks running down from the rim or pooling at the bottom of the bowl. Regular cleaners don't touch this either, because it's not a surface stain, it's a chemical reaction that's already happened, similar to rust on metal. So when you spray a standard toilet cleaner and wipe, you're removing loose surface grime. That's it. The mineral scale is still bonded to the porcelain, the biofilm is still alive under the rim, the rust staining hasn't moved. That's why the ring always comes back, and why it comes back darker every time, because the bacteria you didn't kill just keep building on what's already there. Part 2. The reason this trick works. So why hydrogen peroxide specifically, and why does it succeed where bleach and store-bought bowl cleaners fail? Hydrogen peroxide is what's called an oxidizer. In plain terms, that means it's chemically unstable. It wants to break apart, and when it does, it releases oxygen. That released oxygen is aggressive. It attacks organic material at a molecular level, breaking down the proteins that make up biofilm and killing the bacteria hiding inside it, not just wiping bacteria off the surface, but actually breaking down their cell structure. This is different from bleach. Bleach is a strong disinfectant, no argument there, but it works mostly on contact. It kills what it touches on the surface and doesn't penetrate biofilm particularly well, because biofilm is built specifically to resist a fast surface hit. Peroxide's advantage is that it keeps reacting as long as it's wet. You'll actually see this happen. Pour it in and you'll notice a light fizzing or foaming action, especially where the staining is worst. That foaming is the oxygen releasing and working its way into the buildup, lifting it as it goes. It's not for show. That's the mechanism doing its job in front of you. On mineral scale, peroxide alone is a moderate performer, which is exactly why I combine it with baking soda in a specific step later in this video. Baking soda is mildly abrasive and slightly alkaline, and when it's mixed into a paste with peroxide, you get a scrub that physically breaks the bond between mineral deposit and porcelain, while the peroxide keeps working chemically underneath it. Two different attacks at the same time. That combination is what separates looks better from looks new. On rust and organic staining, peroxide is genuinely one of the better household options available because oxidizers are specifically effective at breaking down the compounds responsible for that kind of discoloration. You won't get a miracle on heavy iron staining from well water in one application, but you will see a visible lift after the first treatment and full results after 2 or 3. There's one more reason I use this over bleach for toilets specifically, and it matters for your safety. Bleach produces dangerous fumes when it comes into contact with certain other cleaning products, including some toilet bowl cleaners and drain cleaners that contain ammonia or acids. People mix cleaners under the sink more often than they realize, and toilets are a common place for that mistake to happen because there's often more than one product sitting right there. Hydrogen peroxide doesn't carry that same risk. It breaks down into water and oxygen, nothing toxic left behind, and no dangerous gas if it happens to mix with something else already in the bowl. And for anyone on a septic system, this matters too. Bleach in large or repeated quantities can disrupt the bacterial balance your septic tank depends on to break down waste. Hydrogen peroxide is far gentler on that system because it degrades quickly and doesn't linger the way chlorine-based products can. Part 3. The solution, step by step. Here's exactly how I do this. Don't skip steps and don't rush the dwell time. That part matters more than the scrubbing. What you need: 3% hydrogen peroxide, the standard brown bottle from the pharmacy aisle. Don't buy anything higher concentration for this. Baking soda, a toilet brush with stiff bristles, a pumice stone, optional for heavy mineral rings, rubber gloves, about 20 minutes of total time, most of which is hands-off. Step 1. Cut the water and drop the water level. Turn off the water supply valve behind the toilet, then flush once to drain most of the water out of the bowl. You want the water line low so the peroxide isn't diluted by the standing water. That dilution is the #1 reason people think this trick doesn't work when they try it themselves. Full-strength contact with the porcelain is what does the job. Step 2. Apply the peroxide generously around the rim first, letting it run down the sides. Then pour more directly into the base of the bowl, covering the stained areas. Don't be shy with it. A full cup is usually right for a standard bowl. You should see light foaming on the worst spots almost immediately. That's your confirmation it's making contact with organic buildup. Step 3. Let it sit. This is the step people skip. 15 minutes minimum. If your ring is old and dark, go closer to 20. This is dwell time, and it's doing the actual chemical work. This is when the oxidizer is breaking down the biofilm and starting to loosen mineral bonds. Walk away. Don't scrub yet. Scrubbing too early just spreads active peroxide around instead of letting it sit and react where it's needed most. Step 4. Build your paste for the ring. While that's sitting, mix a small bowl of baking soda with just enough hydrogen peroxide to form a thick paste. Think toothpaste consistency, not liquid. After your 15 to 20 minutes are up, apply this paste directly onto the ring line and any visible mineral buildup. This is your second attack, targeting specifically what plain peroxide alone struggles with. Step 5. Scrub with the brush. Now bring in the brush. Work it under the rim first, since that's where biofilm concentrates, using firm short strokes rather than wide swirls. Short strokes generate more direct friction against a fixed spot instead of spreading effort thin. Move down to the waterline ring next, where your baking soda paste is doing its work. You should feel and see the buildup start to break away, not just move around. Step 6. Pumice stone for stubborn mineral rings. If you've got a hard water ring that's been there for months or years, the brush alone may not fully clear it in one session. This is where a wet pumice stone comes in. Gently rub it directly on the stain, always wet, never dry, since a dry pumice stone can scratch porcelain. Wet, it's abrasive enough to lift bonded mineral without damaging the glaze underneath. Work in small circular motions and check your progress every few passes. Step 7. Flush and inspect. Turn your water supply back on and flush. Look closely at the rim, the water line, and the base. On most toilets that haven't had this treatment before, you'll see a clear difference after one pass, but heavy, years-old staining sometimes needs a second full treatment a day or two later. That's normal. You're not failing the method. You're dealing with buildup that took months to form and won't always vanish in one session. Step 8. Maintenance. Here's the part that actually keeps your toilet looking like this long-term. Once a week, pour about a half cup of peroxide into the bowl, let it sit for 5 minutes, then give it a quick brush before your normal flush. 5 minutes, once a week, and you're preventing biofilm from ever re-establishing itself instead of fighting a deep stain every few months. Prevention takes a fraction of the effort that correction does. A few things to keep in mind. Never mix hydrogen peroxide with bleach or with any cleaner that contains bleach. On its own, it's safe, but combined with the wrong product, it can produce a reaction you don't want in an enclosed bathroom. If you've used a bleach-based cleaner recently, flush a couple of times and let the bowl sit empty of any residue before starting this method. If you're on well water with heavy iron content, expect to repeat this 2 or 3 times over a couple of weeks before you see your best result. Iron staining is stubborn, and no single session method, peroxide or otherwise, is realistically going to erase years of it in one shot. Anyone who tells you it will is selling you something. And test on a small area first if your toilet has any decorative glaze, coloring, or an older finish. Standard white porcelain has nothing to worry about, but I've come across the occasional colored fixture from decades back where I wanted to be careful before going all in. This is the same core method commercial cleaning crews rely on, just scaled down for a home bathroom. It's not a secret ingredient, it's understanding what's actually causing the stain, mineral scale, biofilm, and oxidized buildup, and using something that attacks all three instead of just masking the smell for a day. Try it this weekend, give it the full dwell time, don't rush the scrub, and check back on it after a week of the maintenance routine. If this helped, the next video breaks down the same oxidizing method for grout lines, which honestly get even worse than toilets and nobody thinks to treat them the same way.